I always like try to look at the industry and go analyze it and see what's popping at that time and go, what's popping, but what's missing? You know, like what can I do that's connected to what's culturally relevant at that time, but make it my own somehow, or something special or different, or just like pay attention to something outside of skateboarding and get some influences from. At that time I was very influenced by high fashion, and I was watching that world a lot, and I liked craftsmanship, I liked design, I liked all those things, and not as much at this point. I think luxury is all bullshit, and it's a tool to just keep you chasing that carrot, you know, and no matter how much money you get, you're going to try to step it up a little bit more. Right. You know, you get the Louis Vuitton purse, then you get the Gucci car, you know, hybrid, or so, you know, collaboration, then you get the yacht, and then you got to get the island, and, you know, the jet, like, it never ends. Yeah. And so all those luxury brands and all that stuff, like, there's good stuff, and you know, if somebody can buy that and it makes them feel good about themselves, that's a good thing. But for myself, I kind of steered away from it a bit, but I also am still interested in design. I love design. I love creating these objects. I struggle sometimes because I do feel there's just too many things out there in the world right now. There's so many brands. There's so much so many things being produced, and a lot of waste associated with that production and the popularity of all these things that is happening. And so I half of me is like, I don't want to make anything. I don't want to do it. I don't want to add more to this, what's happening in the world. But I kind of justify it by, if I'm not going to do it, somebody else is going to do it. And it seems that the objects I create have been bringing joy to people's lives, and they thoroughly are like happy when they get these shoes or this board or whatever it is that we're putting out at the time, and like they're thanking me, and it's like, thank you so much for putting the S reissue shoe out, you know, like I couldn't afford those when I was a kid. I always dreamt of having those, and I never was able to have a pair, and finally I have a job, I'm old, I have my stuff together, and I could buy a pair of S Muskas now, and like, thank you. And I'm like, this is insane. Like, you know, for me to be able to create products and sell them to somebody and have them thank me, I'm like, no, thank you, you know, like thank you.
All those people made it possible.
Yeah.
At the very beginning.
Yes, 100%, you know, and like, I'm in awe of like the continued ability that I have to create these projects, put them out there, have successful sell-throughs, and have people still. There's so many different things that I haven't even done yet that they're like, you got to do this and board and this graphic and this colorway of this, you know, and like, it's like, my past is funding my future, because I have futuristic ideas for footwear in our industry. I see things that aren't in our industry. I've always been kind of conceptualized futuristic designs, or at least I thought I did, at least in my mind. I want to create something that really is going to stir this shit up again, because everybody's doing the same shit with the same logos and the same bullshit, and like, I want to make something that's crazy, and I want to make something that people are going to talk a lot of shit about. What'd you call the ideas? Wacky and
weird and wacky.
Weird and wacky.
For sure. Yeah.
And
well, it's just like the dipping the shoe in the paint, right? Yeah. And then having it drip down onto a canvas and creating an art piece out of that too.
Yeah, yeah.
It's like those are the ideas that you are talking about? Like
well, now it's more so based on just design. Okay. You know, I want a design aesthetic that but you know, who knows? Maybe I honestly, I never know until I'm doing it. You know what I mean? Like it's
but look
like,
at this. Well, Chad, this is insane. Like, this is so, at first I was like, what the hell? But it's amazing. I love it.
Bro.
And then
Very creative.
Now, how does something like that pop out of your brain? Are you just like, oh, I could get paint, or I can get this, and I can dip the shoe, and then this? Do you test it out with some old shoes that are just lying around, or do you just go for it? Like,
so I can't remember exactly, but with this one, there was this high fashion designer, CCP Carol. Christian Carol Pugh, I think. I can't remember exactly how to pronounce it, but it's CCP. They did some rubber dipped base stuff, and it still had some of the drips. It was a full fashion shoe, you know.
Gotcha.
So I was inspired by that years ago, but mainly on this colorway. I didn't like the navy on the. I like all white stuff, kind of, you know, and so I didn't like the little navy accents as much on the sole. So I was like, I wanted to mute that part out, kind of, and I just tried one, and I ended up liking it. And as I picked it up, it started dripping on the ground and splattering a little pattern, and I was like, that looks kind of cool, you know, and it was hanging and moving like that automatically a little bit, you know, and yeah, it just was kind of. Everything I do, like, it just kind of happens. I don't know how it happens, and then I just thought that was really cool concept to like have a. And also, while I'm selling direct to consumer, I'm trying to be as respectful of the skate shops as possible, and trying to do the things that I do different. And so the regular S shoes, you know, we're in all the skate shops, and then when I get mine, I try to like at least just put some bells and whistles and switch it up a little bit, and that was a cool thing that could come with the art piece too. And so that was just each time it's a little bit challenging, and I'm getting frustrated, like, oh man, what am I going to do, you know? And but
how many pairs are you getting to?
I do 100 each time.
Okay.
Yeah, so just 100 shoes. And I've done it every time, and they sold out every time. And
did 20? You didn't do 100 paintings though, did you? You just
50.
Did 50.
Yeah, I did.
Okay.
I did 50.
They came with the shoe?
Yes. So
Gotcha.
I think so, at least. Yeah. Yes. 50 of them came with the shoe and the painting that did it. There was a lot of paint dripping everywhere, so I put some more paintings underneath. So there was more of them. There was 100 paintings, and then there was 50 shoes. 50 shoes came with the 100 paintings, and then I also sold paintings separately as well, too. And then the other 50 shoes I just autographed and probably put different laces or hang tags. I do different things like that. Like, here we go.
You got one? Let's see. What do you got?
You know,
yeah. There
So
you go.
like, you know, I'll just sign the backs of them. And then this one, I used to put these arrow tags I had done, but I ran out of those and they discontinued those. These ones were just some other ones I had, just like a little clear label.
Right.
This was actually not. I used my vacuum sealer and then folded it over and sealed it. This is like supposed to. There's a square right there, and then it's supposed to. Be stitched on a t-shirt, and then that hangs out. You just see that part hanging out.
Exactly.
But then on the inside is the washing instructions, and then a little square would be right in the corner. But I had got these for another project that I never did, and yeah, this isn't nothing too special, but you know, I'll autograph these ones and put some different branding or different laces and different things like that, and then sell them at a bit of a higher price point than the skate shops do,
for sure.
And
it makes sense. It's more personal. In a sense,
Yeah.
and people want to get something personal from you like that, so it makes total sense to do that.
With all bringing retroing this stuff has been awesome. I grew up. I had that shoe when I was in 7th grade. What about now going forward? Do you see yourself designing newer shoes?
That's what I was just talking about.
Yeah.
100%.
Yeah.
I'm in the thick of it right now.
I saw some stuff you've been with Charlie and them. I saw some today and I was blown away. I loved it.
Yeah.
But I'm excited to see what you're going to do going forward.
I'm going to continue to work with S, and we're going to release these things. I'm non-exclusive with them. This was more of like a retro and bringing out the past and celebrating it, similar to what I did with Shorties and putting out the
Perfect timing.
skateboards. And
your super shoe, right? The old super shoe, right? Didn't you really?
that was about 6 years ago.
Yeah, that was. But still, the re-release. I remember those were sick too.
The white ones that I wear, they kind of looked like it was like a hybrid between the 901 and the S Muska. But I'm independently developing. Yeah, those guys right there.
Yeah.
See, I got to see that. I put that logo on it on the tongue and put different laces. You know, just kind of little different things. But now I'm developing independent footwear. Is right now Muska footwear. Just no other company involved. Just straight.
Just gonna be Muska footwear.
100%. Yes.
Wow.
Yes. And so that's I have one sample that's completely done. We're about to go into production with one shoe right now, and then I have the second one I'm starting to design right when I get back, because I've just built up my Illustrator skills and my confidence within there, building these tech packs. And I always worked in Illustrator. I've been working in Illustrator and Photoshop for 20. I don't know, since it came out, basically. Sure. Since probably 95, 94, something like that, or 95, 96 maybe. But So I was pretty good at it, but I was never like mastered it, you know, and I always had somebody that worked within the companies to like, I could get the rough start and go finish this off or just tell them what I wanted to see and they would do it. And I could have done that, but I was busy skateboarding. I was busy touring. I was busy, you know, shaking hands and kissing babies and all that kind of stuff. And, you know, so I had to allow other people to do it. But in this process of starting my own business and developing all this direct to consumer business that I'm doing, footwear is a strong passion of mine. And it was always on the table and something that I've been wanting to do for many, many years on my own independently. It's the scariest one to get involved with.
I was just going to say that, bro. Like, how are you going to do it, like, to the point where, since it is direct to consumer, coming up with those minimums, or do you have somebody that's like you're working with that you solely like trust in that sense where they could come through for you in that aspect? Because that's a daunting task in itself.
Yeah.
Again, do you have minimums, or is it like you could just come up with any amount?
Oh no, there's always minimums, you know, like and you can get smaller minimum runs. You're gonna pay more.
Right.
There's ways around it. You could you know, depends if you want to open up molds or there's so many different ways you can go about it.
Are these going to be limited? Or
I wouldn't say that necessarily because each colorway would, I guess, could be considered limited. But
maybe you're gonna do a limited run of your own touch on them, right? Maybe like you did with the S stuff, maybe?
No,
No?
With these ones, I'm straight developing and manufacturing and designing like a traditional footwear company.
Gotcha.
So maybe I will sign some of them, stuff like that. But I want the factory to implement some of these customization and ideas. I can't do this forever. I can't sign every single one. I can't. Have you ever unlaced 200 pairs of shoes and relaced them back up?
Probably over my lifetime. But
in one day.
Yeah,
like my
that's insane.
fingertips were bleeding from it, and that was just one part of the process of one of the things I did. So I unlaced everything. I like to style them. I like to make them look the way that I want them to look coming out of the box. I hate how shoes look when you pull them out of the box. They look so busted. They choke them all up and they look weird, you know? They look crazy. They look crazy every time. And so like that's all like you could call that out in how they produce it and how they package it. It's a call to order or something like that. I think it's referenced as. I see a vision right now of something lacking in the skate world, and I'm still going to put some things out that it's going to be the first thing I'm putting out is recognizable, because right now I can put things out that I know people want. There's a void. They're not there anymore. And people want this stuff. I see it in my DMs. I see it in my comments. I see it all over the place. I see it trending in different areas that aren't my products. And so I know what needs to come out and when it needs to come out. And I can't take any gambles right now. Everything I do, I'm funding everything. Everything I do has to be a success. Otherwise, it's going to put me pretty back far. And especially in footwear, this is all to be determined.
Yeah,
so you asked, you know, do I trust in this? I don't know yet. We'll see. But if I don't try it, I'll never find out,
course.
you know? And if it does fail, I'm confident that it won't be a mistake. It'll be a lesson. But I'm so prepared right now. I'm so prepared. I'm so in the sense that I know what I want. I have very strict vision of what I want, confidence in my decisions and my belief in what I want. And I am able to articulate that through my designs, through my tech packs that I build in Illustrator. I have one footwear guy that's working with me, Josh Brubaker. He designed the Sky Top with me originally. And we've worked together for years. We started talking a few years ago about this project that we're working on now, and he helped me out with. And since then, I've learned so much that now I'm able to kind of do a little bit more by myself. But he has a relationship with factories, which is like it's the scary part of, is this going to come out right? All this stuff. In that sense, I have some sort of somebody to bounce off things and somebody to help me out with and that. And I've always been guided by the people that I've worked with, and I absorb everything. I watch and I see what's going on. And as we launched Circa and as we launched Supra, and when I worked with S, and since the beginning, first time I worked with S, I was, with French Franck, and we're in there and I'm drawing stuff on napkins and bringing it in, and he's interpreting that and drawing his version, and then I'm seeing how he's doing it, and then they're sending it off on the computer. I remember I was so amazed by that, and then I got my first shoe, and it did well at that time, and I was just because I was into footwear, like I was down with like getting shell toe Adidas with fat laces and Pumas and like British Knights and Diodoras, and like I had all this, like, even though I was broke, I always wanted dope shoes, like I loved like sneakers. This sneaker culture didn't even exist. There was no such thing as it, but I love sneakers, I always did. And it was like I may have talked about this on the last one too, but it was like, when you don't have money and you put some new shoes on, something about it is like you start feeling good, and you're like, you feel like you could conquer the world, go get a job and make some money then, I love designing footwear, and I love process. I love process with everything. I love understanding the process and learning about it and trying it even. Like I got really into silk screening for 4 years at one point. I was doing all silk screening. I love going to the factories in China and watching the shoes develop and seeing every step and looking, because every time I watch how something is produced, it leads to a new design concept in my head. How do you do this, and how can I utilize it and try to do it in a way that you normally wouldn't do it, and take that. And so I the more I understand, even if I don't have to do every step of the way, then at least that's me putting the labels on. that's the Chinese Muska right here going at it. I got my own little spot, my little setup shop over here. No.
The Muska brand shoes, are those more fashion based or like skateboarding based? Like where are we at?
Hybrid.
Hybrid.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. I want to make something ridiculous. I want to make something, but it's still functional fashion. I think that was S's tagline back in the day, wasn't it? Didn't they have functional fashion or something like that? Maybe I made that up.
That's your name. Take it with you.
So you want people to be like skating them and chilling them and do whatever they want.
Well, like, I mean, look what's happening in high fashion right now and how much they've taken from the skate culture. But I've equally taken from the high fashion culture too as well. So like I think it would be interesting to try to approach it with both in mind too. And I don't want to talk too much because motherfuckers start biting before I get it out. But no. But
luckily, shoes take longer to make.
That's true.
Yeah. And so, and initially, it's not going to be as crazy, like I said, because I have to make something that I know is going to sell first, and that will give me the financial confidence to do the out there idea that I have right now.
Oh, so we're going even more out there.
Yeah. So, I see it, the picture in my head, but I won't talk too much about it. But I'm excited. I'm excited because my sourcing and manufacturing confidence has gained right now, and I'm communicating. I tried to get everything done in America, but it was very hard and very expensive, and a lot of people, just the communication and the it's like weeks will go by and you don't hear nothing, and like I'm trying to get stuff done and I'm waiting and I'm trying to be loyal to different people that are working on my projects. I'm like, okay, this is my clothing manufacturer, I'm only going to use them. This is my board manufacturer, I'm only going to use them. But something I realized is in business, you got to keep going, and everything is transactional. Everything, especially with manufacturing, like that's all a transaction. Here's my product, here's the money, you produce it, you give me the product, and what I do in my company becomes emotional, and there's an emotional attachment, and the marketing and whatever story I tell within that becomes something. But the manufacturing is transactional, and I used to not think that way. I thought I had some sort of like obligation of loyalty to these companies that were manufacturing my products, but they slowed me down heavily over these last couple of years, and I didn't want to go overseas, but now I'm straight going into China, and I'm producing stuff there, and I know that it's a bit of a taboo, and I know people look down on it, and for me, I would love to produce every single thing in America, but it's the way that China is set up, and the ability I can communicate with China easier than I can communicate with America, and that's baffling to me.
Crazy.
And like, so let's say like a program like Alibaba, where you have the access to all the manufacturing in the world, anything you could think of, not just skateboarding, not just clothing. Think of anything, you if you're able to build your tech packs, and you know exactly what you want, and you understand that product and what fabrics and what materials, if you can say every single thing needs to be done, 99.9% chance is that's what you're gonna get. And so like I'm I'm communicating, and it's like, you think of something, you send out the email, and boom, it's coming right back. And it's like, hey, yep, here it is. Here's the time. Here's the cost. And here's the communication. And here's the delivery date and quality. And you could, see all these things, and you can get a sample fairly fast, and you could go into production. And that's where I'm at right now with a lot of things, and I still have a lot to learn. I'm by far no master at it, but I said I think I was, but compared to where I was 4 years ago, I'm now becoming a master at it, and learning a lot. And I've never, like I said, never been a businessman. I've always been a skater. I've always been an endorser for companies, and but now I'm going at it. I see a challenge, and I love to, just like I was, with my old owners of the house, to prove to them I can grow that plant.
Sure. I
want to prove to the skate industry, like, look, I can do it on my own. Watch, like.
Oh, you're gonna do it, bro.
The longer I was with any company, the less I got paid. So longer, less, and like to the point where it stopped, and then there was no more money coming in. And so I said, you know what? Okay. If the skate industry doesn't want me, I'm gonna make my own industry, and I'm gonna do Muska Industries, and I'm gonna put it out there, and I'm gonna make product, and I'm gonna continue to do what I've always done for somebody else, but for myself this time. And if I can grow it past a certain level where I'm at right now, but that's the beauty thing. What I was talking about earlier, I don't know if we got sidetracked on it, but was, okay, let's say I do get. If it's 1,000 orders a day and I can't physically pack that myself without killing myself, I'll try to do it. Trust me, I'll go for it. But if I get to that point, then you outsource logistics.
Right.
And then if, the company's blown up, then my, as long as if you outsource logistics, you're good as long as your product's selling. Totally. If it's sitting there, then logistics can be bad because you're going to pay for a product to sit there
every day.
Yep, exactly. So my products have been, up to date, moving fairly well, and honestly, I'm not looking to have private jets and Lamborghinis. I'm not about that anymore. I don't care. I just want to pay off my house.
You don't want the Gucci car?
No. Maybe no. Unless they want to send it to me.